All right. Just setting this. Hello, James Probus II. Your wife's son first. Of course you are. I love that. Can you guys hear me? Somebody say yes. I know there's probably a delay. Hi. Yes. Awesome. Kurt Franklin. Word up. Here. Dwayne Benson. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. What's I going to say? Okay. So everybody, just so everybody knows, Kurt Franklin is my best friend and writing partner. He lives in Hawaii. He is a strong conservative and a good man, very smart guy, and proof that, college is for suckers. Because the man did not go to college, but one of the smartest people I know. I've never met this man before. Valeria. And my girlfriend is in the comments section. I actually tried to get her to join me, at least to say hello to people. I'm going to go ahead and put this here so that I don't... I'm going to put that there so I don't mess up the audio. But she refused to do this video. She's a little shy. But apparently she's willing to get me coffee. So yes, darling, if you can get me coffee, that would be wonderful. That would actually be amazing because I forgot to get that before I started this thing. Yeah, there's some lag. I tried to do this yesterday with my patrons on Patreon, and just a great group of people. But yeah, there was a bit of a lag. Kofefi. I still have made that t-shirt. I have a Teespring, and once I started to get a little bit of followers on YouTube, I started to think, I should monetize this so I can focus on it and do it full time. So I started to make merchandise, and I put it on Teespring and the things I wanted to do. Oh no, you know what? I think I may have done it. I just wanted to do a shirt that said Kofefi. Just sell that. I thought it was a beautiful idea. Somebody has probably done it already. Hi from Toronto. I used to live in Toronto. American living in Canada. Yeah, I stayed at a backpackers youth hostel up there for I think 6 months. I stayed there for a long time, and then I moved out to an apartment. But yeah, some of the best times of my life were in Toronto. New subscriber, love what you do. Thank you, Javier86. I assume you were born in 1986. If your mom starts asking about snacks, I'm out of here. I do not live with they're in Oregon. My family's in Oregon. But my dad was going to, let me call him real quick. My dad was going to come on here and talk to some of the fans. I thought that might be good. A lot of my political philosophy was developed. Voice message. Nope. Was developed growing up with my rather conservative father. Let's call Mom. Dad's phone's off. New sub and patron. Oh yeah, Naida. Yes. Oh, you are awesome. My patrons are I'm always so grateful to my patrons. I always think it's kind of it blows my mind that people are willing to pay to sort of help to this kind of, or disseminate this kind of information, because it's something that I love to do, and it's a huge privilege. People listen to, donate money for that. Oh, hey, Mom. Hey, do you guys want to get on the YouTube and say hi to my fans and leave comments and stuff?
Maybe. Okay, it's YouTube. Something Reagan.
Yeah, Mr. Reagan. As you can see, guys, my family is big fans of the show. You're on, by the way. You're on the internet. People are listening to you speak.
Oh, okay.
Say hi to the world.
Hi. This is my son.
Yeah, this is my mom. Oregon right now. Anyway, yeah, go ahead and go on Mr. Reagan. There should be an icon. You can click on that. If you guys have trouble, call me back.
Okay.
All right. Bye, Mom. Well, thank you, Aaron O'Connor. All right. Well, we're just acquiring people here. I thought you were at 8,000 subs around Wednesday. Yeah, it grew really fast. It started to snowball. I had some notes for yesterday's live chat. I'd rather just answer people's questions, but I thought I would say I started this this channel on YouTube. I was watching a Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro and all these guys, watching them, and there wasn't really a lot of new content. And I thought, there needs to be somebody else. I want to watch somebody else. I've seen Dave Rubin's show today. I've seen Ben Shapiro. I've seen Jordan Peterson's interview. Like, I want something else. I want something else. I was like, you know what? I'll do it. I got on here. Is my mom on here yet? I can't tell. That's funny. Hey, Bad MF, you're 40. You look good. You look good. I'm in LA, so everybody here looks 10 years younger. I'm 30. But everybody looks like, most of the people who are 38 in LA look 28, and most of the people who are, 48 look 38. So it's a weird town. I have no perspective. My voice is better than Shapiro. Everybody's voice is better than Shapiro. But no, I do like Shapiro. I don't think, I never thought his voice was that bad until people brought it to my attention. And then I was like, it's not the best, but I love Shapiro. I don't want to say a bad word against the man. We do need more intellectual conservative women. What's her name left? Lauren Southern left recently. She had this goodbye thing, and she was going to do focus on her documentaries, and that was hugely disappointing. Hello, darling. Oh, my girlfriend. Say hi. Say hi. She's a little shy. She doesn't like to be in front of the camera, probably because she's so pretty. Nobody needs to see that. This is kind of a funny story. Once he hits puberty, watch out. My buddy Kurt from Hawaii says, once Ben Shapiro hits puberty, I better watch out. True. Yeah, he might become famous or something. So this is my Bentley cup. I wrote a TV script, and the main character's name was Bentley. And my ex-girlfriend had this cup, and I demanded she give it to me because it's the name of my character. But my new girlfriend doesn't seem to mind that I have it. Let's see. James Harrelson. No relation to Woody, I assume. We need more non-intellectual butt-kicking conservatives like me. I like you, Bill Barry. Pat LaPointe says, listening to Jordan Peterson, it's great to hear somebody with my IQ understand him. So thank you for this. Oh, I see what you're saying. My IQ is lower than Jordan Peterson, so I can speak like Jordan Peterson, but with a lower IQ vernacular. Absolutely right. I am not going to argue with you. Jordan Peterson, he's probably got at least a point higher on his IQ score than I do. Maybe 2. Oh. Yeah, my girlfriend does not look her age. She is, in fact, 22. She just turned 22. I'm 38. It is quite a bit of an age difference, but, I was a little bit against the relationship at the beginning because she did look so young, but we got along very well, so it ended up working out. Play-by-play. Yeah, that's kind of what my channel evolved into. Talking to Nida. Nida said that she likes the play-by-play got on some of my videos. I'll tell you what my videos were originally supposed to be. I originally wanted to just talk about ideas I had, for instance, stuff that I never heard anyone say. I traveled quite a bit, and I noticed that pretty much every culture is their default setting is racist. Like if you go to Africa, they'll talk about other tribes that are racist, that are inferior, like, oh, they're not as good as us. If you go to, anywhere in the world, the Chinese hate the Japanese, hate the Koreans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All these, there is this tribalism that exists throughout the world, and I thought, the only culture who really has an ethic against this is white European culture, American culture, Anglophonic cultures like Australia and Canada and North America and this. And I thought, or the United States, and I thought somebody needs to talk about this. Somebody needs to say, look, if you travel outside the U.S., racism is normal. Like everybody's criticizing Americans for being racist against black people, but in fact we're the only ones who are not racist. Like we have a strong ethic against race. Like you can lose your job if somebody claims you're racist, even if you're not. So I thought, we're not getting enough credit for being the only non-racist culture in the world. And so that's something I wanted to say, on one of these videos, and kind of just defend American culture and straight white men who seem to be, considered evil by the left. And then it evolved a little bit because I did this play-by-play of Jordan Peterson's debate with Michael Eric Dyson, where he said, "You're just a mean, mad white man." And I said, okay, why did he say that? And I looked through the video and I broke down exactly every moment that I thought triggered Michael Eric Dyson's mind that initiated this bizarre thing that he said. And that blew up, right? That blew my channel up. And I thought, okay, well, I have to do Jordan Peterson videos now. Everybody, there's a demand for it, and I'm pretty good at analyzing these debates and interviews and the psychology behind it, because I kind of know human psychology a bit, not from studying, but just from observation. And I definitely know politics. I know the language that they're using and the sort of rhetorical tricks, because I know debate technique. So I thought, well, I can break these things down for people, and it seems to be effective. People seem to there seems to be an appetite for this kind of content on YouTube. Your nieces say hi. Oh, hey, Johnny. John K. If anybody sees John K on there, that is my brother up in Oregon, up in Salem, Oregon. That's awesome. I have 2 nieces from him, and then I have 3 from my sister, and he's got a 3rd one on the way. So good luck with that, Johnny. It's all girls, except for the new one's going to be a boy. I got a nephew coming finally, which is great. The comments are a little bit delayed. Oh, look at that! I'm looking forward to promoting this channel on Minds. Is there an ETA when you'll have your channel designed and a couple of videos updated? God, every single night I think I want to do that. Minds, and then there's another one called like BitChute that I do. So Kitsch Hipcat, just I think it just donated $5, which is great. I don't really know how live chat works. I guess you can donate money, which is nice. Thank you so much, HipChat. If that's actually what just happened, I mean, it's green, so I assume that's all right. Awesome. Okay, everybody, send me your money. I'm kidding, but that's very cool. Thank you so much. Bitch keeps insisting that I post on those channels. And I have a normal job. I have a regular day job, so I've been kind of stuck doing that pretty intensely for the past week, and I haven't. But every night I think, okay, do that. So you know what? Again tonight, I'm gonna say I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do Minds. I'm gonna do BitChute tonight. Oh, Jason Lavallee bought 3 of my mugs. Thank you so much, Jason. That is amazing. I have Mr. Reagan mugs. I have these. I want to design a bunch of conservative, patriotic type stuff. I grew up in America. I was never proud to be an American. You might say that sounds kind of not great, but let me get my Mr. Reagan mug. It wasn't that I didn't like that I was an American. It's that I didn't feel like I had benefited the country enough to be proud. And I know there's other definitions of pride other than just like, I think I did a great job. But I felt honored and blessed. And I didn't feel proud to be an American. And but now that I'm doing this channel, I'm a little bit more proud. I'll be right back. Give me 2 seconds. All right, I'm back. I just wanted to get the old Mr. Reagan mug. Anyway, yeah, it's, you know, the internet's such a crazy place. You can do, you know, you can design a mug or a t-shirt and then you can distribute it to people. And, you know, the company that does the distribution gets most of the money, but I mean, it's cool because, you know, people can have like custom stuff that I just love I love 2018. I think it's great. And Metolius just gave me $3.99. Oh, you're such a I mean, I've been watching YouTube obviously for many years, but I'm very new to being the kind of, you know, personality. I don't know what I'm doing here. Why is nobody talking about China? Rus 7, elaborate, please. What are you talking about specifically? Let's see here. Yeah, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up YouTube if I go on Minds or BitChute or these other things. But I just think that multiple platforms is good. I think competition is good. I don't like monopolies. You know, I don't like the post office and the DMV. So I think that we should have other platforms other than YouTube because, you know, obviously they're, gosh, the comment section keeps appearing. Because they have too much power. YouTube has too much power, and obviously they're canceling people and they're demonetizing people and all that. And it's pretty bad. I don't have any idea what Minds is either, Nida. But apparently it's conservative crowd. Okay, so I was going to say when I started this and what it turned tribute channel, which is, it's not really supposed to be. It's more just general conservative ideas. But I do a lot of Jordan Peterson videos because that seems to have a lot of obviously he's got a huge fan base. Here's what I think about Jordan Peterson right now. When I was in college, I think I wrote a movie script. You know, I'm a writer, and I wrote this movie script about who was investigating some crimes, and what he discovered, the villain of the film was a coven of witches, like real, and their diabolical plan was to erase the history of Christendom, right? They had felt that paganism was destroyed hundreds of years ago by the Christians, and they wanted to written these coven of witches had a network of witches throughout the world, and they were going to burn every painting and burn every church and destroy every Bible and just like destroy every remnant of Christianity that they could figure out how to do. This was their diabolical plan. And of course he stops them, the hero wins in the end. But at the very end, he starts to think, like, why are these people so, you know, so opposed to Christianity and God and goodness and decency and all this? And what he realizes is that there's just a lot of people in the world who hate God. You know, a lot of atheists will say that they have a practical opposition to religion and to God. And some of them, I think, are being genuine. They just practically can't conceive of it. They don't want to feel fooled, right? But then there's a lot of people who just hate God, right? They accept that there's probably a God, or that God is probably real, or they maybe genuinely feel the presence of some kind of spiritual entity, but they hate God because they feel like they've been dealt a bad hand in life or something like that, which of course eventually goes against their own interests. But at the end of the script, this character starts to think, like, how do I combat this? And what he ends up doing is writing a book of his own. He goes off to be alone in isolation and write a book, code of ethics, like taking the divinity out of the Bible and just putting in a sort of secular code of ethics based on Christian ideas. And the reason I wrote that, because I heard that there was a kind of almost a need for this, because people who hated God or just didn't want to accept the divinity of the Christian faith or just religion in general, they were also sort of rejecting all ethics. They were like, ethics, you know, all ethics that have anything to do with God, religion, or anything, a lie, and so we must reject them all. And I felt like this is a horrible thing to do, because you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Even if there is no God, even if there are divinities, you know, this all of these ethics, they still work. They're still a good thing to live by. We need a sort of secular set of ethics that's sort of parallel to Christianity that can help people to live better lives. And I didn't know exactly how to write that or how to do that, but I thought, well, maybe one day I'll do it. I don't have to. Jordan Peterson is this thing, right? Is the answer. Jordan Peterson has done this for us. And so I feel like there was this real strong need for something, some kind of guidance for people who just couldn't, for whatever reason, accept the Christian God, but wanted some direction. And Jordan Peterson gives that to people. And he's also, I think he is driving people toward Christianity, which I think is a good thing. And many of you might think is a horrible thing. But that's, that's my take on it. Let me answer some questions and stuff here. So why the title Straight White Christian Male from SRJ34? My buddy Kurt, who's on here right now, Kurt Franklin. Oh, thank you. Scabanis Malaka, I think is your name. I can't pronounce that. I'm a white guy from Oregon, man. Scabanis Malaka. $2. Thank you so much, brother. Good luck. Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, my best buddy Kurt, who's on here, my Amazon, Intellectual Graffiti was his title, and I thought that was a kind of a cool, fun, like hip title, but it wasn't really appropriate for me, because even though the short stories aren't hyper political, I just felt like this is considered the enemy, right? At the straight white Christian male, and I thought, like, I need to own that. Like, I need to make that my identity for these stories. The author is a straight white Christian male. These are stories from the mind of Christian male, like showing like we have value. Okay, we're not just these, evil menaces to society. We're actually, good men, that can produce art and, something interesting. So that's why I called my book Straight White Christian Male, Volume 1 and Volume 2, and I'm going to have Volume 3 eventually. I thought you were Ray and Romano. I do a Ray Romano impression, which is based on the woman who played Ray Romano's wife on the show. And it's not actual words, it's just noises. So if you want to do a Ray Romano impression, you just go, that's my Ray Romano impression. Did I assume my own? Thank you, Xenomorph. Thanks for the response. Thanks for the question. Bad MF. We need the left to show how ridiculous we could become if we go unchecked. Oh, Metolius 9. $5. I'd like to hear your critique of... Thank you so much, man. I'd like to hear your critique of Jordan Peterson's support for altruism and the idea that women's suffrage was a good idea. Support for altruism, the idea that women's suffrage was a good idea. I mean, maybe elaborate on that just a little bit. I don't have altruism and the idea that women's suffrage was a good idea. Here's the thing about women's suffrage. I think Ann Coulter she's known for saying that she wishes to vote because if women didn't have the vote, more conservative. Women voting, it's a tricky kind of a thing because you want the most rational people voting, right, all the time. And I'm not saying women are not rational. Sometimes they're not, but sometimes men are. And how do you determine which people are less rational or more rational, or voting based on emotion, or how good looking the candidate is, or something like that? That's a very difficult thing to control for, right? So it used to be that only like landowners could vote. And that was actually kind of a pretty good system, I feel like, because they had the biggest stake in what happened in America. But then you end up getting sort of these disenfranchised people at the bottom, or I think Jordan Peterson has a word for the people at the bottom. I can't remember what it is. Maybe somebody could write it down. Anyway, you get these people at the bottom of the hierarchy who are kind of screwed over if only like the rich people or the landowners can vote, even though they have less to lose because they don't have anything anyway. It's a tricky system. It's always kind of shifting. We've kind of gotten to a system where like we want the most people to vote as possible. Let's see. Supports capitalism. The decline of the West has been linked to suffrage and subsequent hormonal birth control. Yeah. Okay. I see where you're going here. There is a kind of a theory that we've sort of stopped evolving as a species because we care for our sick, and the, like, you can't have survival of the fittest if we keep on supporting everybody who's sick and has a problem. And then that kind of goes into the whole altruism idea, like helping out maybe in some, like, should the sickest wolves still procreate and survive and produce more wolves, wouldn't that sort of just make the entire wolf population? I have a lot of stories about this that I've actually started to write. I had one story that was kind of a comedy about somebody in the future that was a superhero, but he was a superhero because he, for whatever reason, had this weird genetic anomaly that made him as strong as somebody in 2018, right? Because everybody in that world was very weak, because like physical labor was no longer necessary, and so everybody was born sort of like pathetically weak. And I think we called it like Normal Man or something like that. Kurt will know. We kind of came up with this story together. So Normal Man was like the guy that was like stronger than everybody in the future, because everybody in the future was like a nerd and was like super, super weak. I don't know. It's a tricky thing. Like, yeah, is altruism, is actually helping people who are sick actually hurting the world? Yeah, probably. But I mean, what's the alternative? Eugenics is the alternative. That's obviously terrible. So Jordan Peterson exhibits some leftist tendencies. Actually, I do too. I have the same brain. The reason that I say Jordan Peterson's a conservative, everybody gets mad at me for saying Jordan Peterson's a conservative. He is a conservative. I'm sorry. There's no issue that I've heard him talk about in which he's leftist at all. The only reason he calls himself liberal is because his brain is a sort of creative brain, which is exactly the same as my brain. My brain is art, creativity. I want to go explore the world and experience new. I'm more attracted to exotic than I am to the familiar, but I recognize that as a young age as like potentially problematic in some ways, and therefore I became a conservative very young, because I knew that people were going to be better at decision making in government and stuff like this if they had a more structured thinking process than I have. So I recognize the failures in my own thoughts. But Jordan Peterson has exactly the same situation I do. So I understand where he's coming from exactly. And he is not a leftist or liberal in the contemporary sense of the word. Classic liberal, okay. But to me, classic liberal is no different than conservative. I don't know why people think it's so different. I mean, everybody keeps saying, oh, there's a definite differentiation. Okay, tell me what it is. Somebody knows the difference between classic liberal and conservative? Post it on the comments. Sorry, I'm reading these. C. Mullen 77 says, personal charity helps both the giver and receiver. Government charity starts with a gun, helps nobody but the government. It's so true. I think that the reason that conservatives don't like welfare isn't just because you're stealing money from people and giving to other people. I think it's also that it reduces the self-esteem of the person getting it. It's no good getting somebody dependent, like addicted to welfare, addicted to government support, if they never rise out of this, sort of depression caused by that system. You want people to have dignity and want to do things for themselves, help their family, help, other people in the world feel like they're making a difference, making a change in this world. And if you're just giving them handouts for their whole life, then they're just going to, feel useless and be useless. You want to have a job, be able to get a raise, be able to get a promotion. So we want to create employment. We don't want to create a welfare state. And that's a very strong difference between conservatives and leftists. In fact, when I talk to leftists who think conservatives are just evil, I say, no. We want to raise people out of poverty. We want to improve the world. We just want to do it in a different way than you do. And I cite this idea of the depressive nature. My girlfriend just posted something on Instagram. Let's see what this is. The depressive nature of somebody on welfare versus the self-esteem of somebody who has a job. And I say this is the difference between the left and the right. And it's hard for people to. Oh, I can't show you guys that. And it's hard to argue against that. So if you want to at least get a leftist to recognize that right-wing thing is completely just pure evil, I that's the first thing I tend to cite, is the job versus welfare situation. Sorry, I'm not reading these fast enough. Okay, here we are. I'm back. I don't understand your comment. Young conservative is evil, old leftist is heartless. Yeah, that's the idea. Like if you're young, if you're not liberal when you're young, you're heartless, and if you're not conservative when you're old, you're stupid or something like that. I don't like that, because if you're not irrational when you're young, you can be compassionate and then also be a conservative, because you recognize that conservative ideas actually do help people. How about a system where people voluntarily help people? That was actually the system before Social Security and welfare, and it actually worked relatively well. Sebastian Laurier. Hey, man. Hey, man. How you doing, Sebastian? I don't like that name. I had a girlfriend that dated a guy named Sebastian, and it pissed me off. Made me hate all Sebastians, but not really. Let's see here. Palmetto Paratrooper. I don't know what that means, but I like the alliteration. Want in exchange for votes, Republicans want to give them opportunities and help themselves. So true. So true. Okay. Instead of giving a man a fish, why don't you let him marry a fish, and you would be a progressive. I don't really understand that, but that's hilarious. Let him marry a fish, and then you would be well, exactly. Yeah, weird ideas. James, history is going to recognize Jordan Peterson as a thinker of our time. I wonder about that sometimes. I'm like, how is history going to, how are people in the future going to learn about Jordan Peterson? I mean, he's going to be legendary, but you could see everything he's got online. Yeah. Look, the horror movie, because just the sense that the monster's close is scarier than actually showing the monster. And then there's like really, really, really good horror movies where you sense the monster the whole time, but you think, well, nothing could be as scary as what I have imagined in my head. And then they show the monster, like, oh crap, okay, that's good. Like that's even better. I feel like that's kind of what Jordan Peterson is. That's a weird analogy, but I feel like if you tell people about the legend of Jordan Peterson, they'll think like, well, there's no way he could be as brilliant and amazing as you're saying. But then if they watch the videos, they'll oh, he is. Just found your channel. This is John McGuffin. Well done, Mr. Reagan. Just found your channel. Appreciate your common sense and fair approach. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your comment. Carolina is the Palmetto State. It's a tree. Oh, okay. Very good. I assume you're a paratrooper. You are from South Carolina. It's appropriate. LOL. Glorious Assam. My heart is with my family. Close, extended brothers. I guess you mean like married your sisters. But my compassion goes out to those suffering injustices abroad. This makes me right-wing, ? Injustices abroad, injustices everywhere. I think that I don't think that, honestly, I think if you're a compassionate person, it doesn't mean you're right or left wing. You have compassion. This is a point of differentiation that I have between Jordan Peterson and myself. And a lot of people kind of give me crap for this because they're like, Peterson fan, but you don't agree with this. I absolutely disagree with Jordan Peterson that the left is necessary. Jordan Peterson seems to think that there needs to be balance in the political system between left and right. The right accepting the necessity for a hierarchy and using that to progress the world. And then the left will point out the disenfranchised and say, well, we need to help them too. I don't think that that's the job of the left. I think that's the job of the compassionate. And you can be compassionate and you can be right wing. So we have people on the right wing who are very laissez-faire economics. They're very, libertarian, almost anarchist. They're able to say, like, look, the capitalist system, the market system works very, very well. We don't need to interfere. You'll have other compassionate conservatives. I consider myself one of them. And we say, well, no, we should actually take care of, because, a lot of people just have bad luck. It's not really just that, or that they're useless. A lot of people just have bad luck. And some people are useless. And what do you do with useless? I don't think. So there's, libertarians and people like me, we do have different takes on this stuff. Hey, Kurt, are my parents on here? I don't think I've seen them. I've seen Johnny. I've seen you. Oh, hey. Hey, Lizard. How you doing, buddy? Lizard. I think I said when I met you, well, when I first saw you on here, I think I said something about you being Dutch, and you were like, no, it's just a silly name. Bill Barry disagrees with me. He says, I agree with Peterson on that one. I think the left is so insane that half the people that vote Republican or very liberal-minded are very... Okay, I don't quite understand. That. Sorry. I concur with Kurt. I want to know what Kurt said. Kurt's my best buddy. I want to see what he says here. Jordan Peterson is so influential that his observations and theories will live on, if not his name. Yeah, that's true. So Jordan will probably be remembered as a heretic. It's possible. All right. Yeah, I said your name. Lizard. Okay. Macy Mack, I agree we've halted our evolution, but in the sense that people seem to want to systems that lead to authoritarianism as opposed to autonomy. You know, it is a weird thing, right? I mean, it's a weird thing that leftists want authoritarian government. I mean, they don't say that they do, but they want socialism, and they want, and a lot of them will just outright say we want communism, which is, okay, here's the problem with communism. Just let's just establish this right now. I mean, there's a lot of problems with communism, but the very initial problem with communism is that there's no incentives to work hard. Right? There's just sort of like your expectation that a good person, you know, that human beings are good and that they'll work hard. Well, if anybody's lazy or incapable of working as hard as you expect that they do, well, then you need a system in place to encourage them to work harder. And what is that system? Well, you have to do it by threat of force, like threat of bodily imprisonment or something like that. So then you have to have these people go around and judge everybody. And then not only do you have to have the judge, but you have to try the police that come in with guns and say, do your job or we're going to kill you. So now you've already separated, with the initial conception of your society to workers, the proletariat, and a class of authoritarians, right? The police and the judges. You've instantly split your classes, right? Okay, so communism, everybody's supposed to be equal, instantly bad, instantly doesn't work. So like, and everything beyond that, you know, all the other problems with communism are just sort of icing on the cake. That's the fundamental problem that all, you know, a lot of the other problems stem from. And it's like, it's such a stupid idea. Is this stream an S show yet? Kind of, yeah. I'm not very good at this. I mean, I don't know how you guys, I mean, if you guys have a suggestion that I should, like, you know, provide a talking point or something, go ahead. I'm trying to answer some questions. But no, content warning, so far it's not a complete disaster. Leftists don't know what they want. I think they kind of do know what they want. I think that they have a vision of the future that is completely insane. You know, where sort of it's an extremely egalitarian vision of the future. Their vision of the future is that we have sort of equal numbers of every race running the most powerful companies and countries, right? Like, so all the most powerful entities in the world are run by people of every race, you know, both genders, transgender people, you know, equal number of gay and straight or whatever, you know, just all these different kinds of. James Harrelson, awesome, dude. What are a few of your favorite TV shows that inspire your writing? Mad Men, conservative foil to Draper. Yeah, everybody always wanted me to go on Mad Men when that was out. Yeah, I don't have. I'm in Hollywood. I just don't have very many good connections out here, so I'm unable to really pitch. I have a lot of shows. I've got about 12 TV shows and movies that I would like to pitch, but I don't have the connections to do it. So sadly, you know, I'm just sitting here doing my, but you know, which is beautiful, by the way. I love doing it. The shows that inspired my writing, the primary show that inspired my writing was Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone was the sort of changed the way I wrote. Twilight Zone and Dostoevsky, actually. Yeah, I actually watched that and I thought, if I can write as well as the writers on Twilight Zone, I would be better than any writer than these when I thought of that. There are a lot of good shows today, some of which I think I could write. Oh, what is it on that I watch are like and stuff. It's an excellent program. I just discovered that recently with my girlfriend. We were watching it. So, Bim Jim just said South Park is philosophy. Yeah, South Park is a weirdly conservative show, considering how kind of vulgar and weird, crazy they are. Jacob Wildley, I would love to hear your opinion on the James Gunn situation. I actually don't have a problem with the jokes that James Gunn made. I really want him to make more of those Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I hate they're taking that away from him. I don't know if we'd get along. I actually know people who know James Gunn out here in Hollywood, and people are just kind of crappy people out here in Hollywood in terms of like the level of discourse. I mean, people will say incredibly vulgar things as a joke. It's sort of like a kind of a frat boy culture. I mean, and I'm not talking about the guys. I mean the girls too. I mean, a lot of women out here say incredibly vulgar things. I mean, it's just kind of like, it's not the whole culture. I mean, there's just some people are like that. And there's nothing like particularly nefarious about it. It's just kind of a jokey, like when you're in a room with a bunch of other comedians, you're kind of competing. There's thing called the writer's room, right? It's like if you're on a sitcom, you sit in the writer's room with a bunch of other guys, mostly guys, some girls, trying to come up with the best jokes for the show. And that leads into a lot of directions that are not like, not safe for work, although they're at work, right? So, you start talking about some pretty, pedophilia, all kinds of crazy jokes will come out because you need to feel free to sort of like explore different ideas to get the funniest stuff, thrown into the TV. And people are throwing everything out, just every idea they can. They're just the stupidest jokes, the most vulgar jokes, everything. And then you got this guy that's the head writer. He's called the showrunner, and he'll, write down what he thinks are the best jokes, and then they'll inject those jokes into the script. You got like, you got the writer's PA, or the writer's assistant, sorry, typing on Final Draft, which is the writing program that people use out here in Hollywood. They'll be typing up the script, and you'll see it on a big screen. And then people in the, that's how the writing works on TV shows out here in LA. And so you do get these really vulgar jokes and stuff, and there's nothing nefarious about it. It's just exploring different ideas that are supposed to entertain people. And I think that's what James Gunn's doing. I mean, all of this sort of persecution of people saying the wrong thing out here is just stupid. I mean, the only person that I think should have been persecuted in recent times, as he was what's his name? Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, the guy should probably just be killed. But everybody else, I mean, like Roseanne, come on. Tim Allen, why did he lose his show? Because it was costing them too much? No, because he was a conservative. Roseanne's not a racist. I mean, it's just stupid that she got canceled. Bim Jim has done stand-up. I hope you were successful, sir. Bob Lavelle writes, James Gunn has had a recent sick exposure concerning the abuse of his very short Japanese girl. I didn't hear about it. Well, maybe, I mean, the stuff that I heard about was sort of joke stuff. I didn't hear anything like that, so I don't know about that stuff. I can't comment on that until I read about it. Let's see. Off topic. NFL is on, and Peter King sucks so bad. In the UK that Kurt, what's my comedian in UK I like? Sounds like one of his jokes. Nida, do you voice? I hope missing words. Gosh, I hope that's not on my end. Is anybody else having problems with the signal, or is it? There's nothing I can really do to fix it. Matt Edens, Jordan Peterson just finished his Q&A and it froze every few minutes. Looks like YouTube is freezing you out too. Coincidence? I think not. Oh, okay. So we are having a bit of an issue. That's unfortunate. There's nothing I can do. I don't think there's anything on my end that's going to be problematic. I mean, that's going to be able to. I don't know how to do it. Like, I don't know how to change it. So hopefully it just fixes. Isn't that the leftist talking point? Politically correct concept is stopping a lot of people from speaking freely, says Sebastian L'Oreau. stopping a lot of people from speaking their mind freely. I mean, I agree. I mean, we all know. I mean, we're all against political correctness here, I think. Pat Lapointe, Xenomorph. My live feed's skipping. Mr. Reagan, Bob Lavallee, I think his name is. Many of the conservative live streamers I know have these wonderful lag moments. Well, maybe it's just we have too many hardcore fans here. I have 60 on here. No, probably 1/100th of the his, but you know. Are you a gun owner, Mr. Reagan? Yes, I am, Greg Enos. I have I actually only have one gun. It was a gift from my brother. It's a gigantic rifle from World War II called a Mosin Nagant. So the cheapest gun you could buy, and it's pretty friggin' awesome. I love it. I don't go shooting very often because I live in LA, but when I get up to Oregon sometimes. Nida, are you Wi-Fi or hardwired? Wonder if it's the Wi-Fi to signal. I have got a Wi-Fi, but I did a live stream yesterday and it seemed to work fine. There was no issues, so I don't know what's going on. Dwayne Benson, Nida, yeah. We'll see if we can get him a hardwired. But all streamers have this. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. What am I going to do right now? Let's see here. There's a big thing from Glorious Assam. Would you consider running a low-budget exclusive with the Distributed Library of Alexandria? I worked with Devin Reed, founder, before. Truly red-pilled. Fair connections in movies. Running a low-budget exclusive. I don't know what that means. Yeah, email me. My email is the Conservative at gmail.com. You'll have to figure out how to spell that. Actually, I can write it down here. The Reagan. I spelled Reagan wrong. Conservative at gmail.com. There you go. Now everybody who wants to email me can email me. Hopefully that went through. Okay. Let's see. Xenomorph. Nope, I'm not reading that. You said the French origin family name correctly. Nice. Bim Jim, live stream at a different time of day. Yeah, I should actually. But you know, I just had to throw this out. I wanted to see if I could, you know, have a discussion with the fans and you know, the people that think like me. And you know, okay, there's one thing that I've noticed about the people who watch my videos. I hesitate to say I don't consider these, you know, people to be fans in the same way that you have a Justin Bieber fan. You know, more it's like other people that want to have conversations with you that are intellectual. A fan, you tend to think of somebody who looks up to the pop star. I don't think you guys are like looking up to me. I think you're just considering like, okay, this is a good avenue to. So it's more like a sort of equal footing kind of situation, I think. And the fans, the people that go onto my channel that comment and stuff, I had no idea that it was going to be as intellectual and as respectful and as dignified as it is on my comment section. And somebody pointed this out the other day. They're like, if you go to the Rubin Report or Ben Shapiro site or you know their channels on YouTube, the discourse is often very vulgar. But if you go on mine, it's all really respectful. And we're not talking about just the conservatives, a lot of the leftists as well. And I've definitely found this, and I'm like blown away by it. Occasionally, I'll get some like pretty disgusting comments, but it's like 1%, even less than 1%. It's incredibly rare, and occasionally something that's like anti-Semitic. Kind of, you know, I don't know what to do about those people, but yeah, it's phenomenally positive, and this idea that there's all these horrible racists and awful people on the internet and it's all bad. That's not my experience at all. I mean, if anything. It's completely contrary to that. I mean, I find that people are more respectful and dignified on my channel comment section than in real life. I mean, I've been blown away this whole time. I mean, you guys are some of the best people I've ever come across in my life are in the comment section of my YouTube video. Oh, my girlfriend got me coffee. Yeah, about that. Gabe Jordan writes, how do you get that Emmett from the Lego Movie's hair going exactly the same every time. Okay, I've got LA Looks styling gel. That's and then I use, as well as LA Looks styling gel, I use what's the hairspray? I forgot the brand of hairspray, but a brand of hairspray. If I think of it, I'll let you know. Johnny the Hat Guy 11 writes, "Hey, love the channel. What do you think about the idea that Nazis are far left? I mean, they're the National Socialist Party." Yeah, I've mentioned this actually fairly often on my channel. The reason that Nazis are classified as right-wing is because they're nationalistic, right? But nationalistic is pretty much synonymous with patriotic. And like, shouldn't everybody be patriotic, left and right? So I'm not sure that that's such a defining characteristic of a political party that they should be considered right-wing or left-wing because they're patriotic. I think more importantly, it's like, what do they do? What are their policies? And the Nazis were absolutely socialist. You know, they were controlling everything. They were a sort of a totalitarian government. You know, big government. Obviously, government controlled everything. I mean, there's very few freedoms. And somebody pointed out on my page something very astute yesterday, that if you go very far right, you end up not with fascism, with anarchy. Right, because if you go very, very far right, you go from conservatism to libertarianism, then you go from libertarianism to anarchy. And I thought, well, that's a much more correct gradation, I think, than what we currently perceive. You know, you go to the far left and you get to communism, and then you go to the far right and you get fascism and Nazism. But that doesn't make sense because those guys are they're almost identical to communism. I mean, it's not identical, but it's they act in the same way. And some people say, well, it's like a circle, right? But I don't think it is like a circle. I think it's like fascism, you know, Nazism, communism on the left, and then on the far right, you get anarchy. And I don't think that you should go that far right, you know, but if you have certain systems in place, capitalistic systems, market systems, you can go pretty far right and you can still have a very, very effective system. You just get some people who aren't particularly well cared for at the bottom, and that's why you need the compassionate people to try to take care of those people. Oh man, I'm way behind here. All right, here we go. Less government, more government. Can't be a circle. I agree. Thank you, Palmetto Paratrooper. Greg Enos, the left calls anyone right of center Nazis, though. I know. I am well aware. Bim Jim, I'm a green libertarian. That's interesting. You should comment more on my thing. I would like to talk to you about that on the other videos and stuff. Mr. Thistleblum. I love that name. Mr. Thistleblum. Hey, Mr. Reagan, love your show. Happy to see Logic and Reason on YouTube. Thank you, sir. Thank you for commenting. Bill Barry, totalitarianism is a natural state for society. Liberty is not. You know, I actually kind of agree with that to some extent. I think that there are a lot of like kind of negative aspects of humanity that are easier to fall into than the sort of higher states, right? So like tribalism is something that it comes very naturally, right? You grow up in a particular family and you have, you all kind of look the same. And then if you leave your, little village, or you leave your house, say 1,000 years ago, and you see somebody who's black or Chinese or something, somebody who looks very different than you, that's a little bit scary. Even if they're the same race, but they just look a little different, right? They're like your familiarity bias. So that's how I call it. I don't know what it's really called. Familiarity bias. And if you feel safer around people who look like you or people who you're used to looking at, that makes total sense, right? Of course, it makes sense to be a little bit wary of the other, of people who are different, because they could potentially be unsafe. They could be trying to steal from you or kill you. So our ancestors, the ancestors we have who were afraid of the unknown and the different and the unfamiliar, they lived. And the people who were more attracted to those things were probably killed off. So we have a natural tendency to have a familiarity bias. And so we rise above that, right? We rise above that by telling our children and telling each other, look, you shouldn't be biased against somebody because they're black or they're white or they're Hispanic or they're, whatever other, different, you know. You should just respect people anyway, despite the fact you might have this natural tendency to prefer your own more familiar type. And I think that that's a better way of living, because this, you know, this guy might be smarter than this guy, even though this guy looks like your dad. Right. So, and that's the way that things should work. They don't usually work quite as well as we want them to. But in the same way, it's possible that like totalitarianism or, you know, a sort of like a worse form of government might be a more natural state for humans, or form of government. But we just have to fight our natural instincts to go to bad places. So that, you know, that's what humanity is. That's why we're better than animals. Let's see here. John McGuffin. Have to ask you a technical question. Your video quality is unique and fascinating. What camera and lens are you using? And what capture card device do you pair it with? Now, so I'm currently just computer because I have no way of, I use a Sony. I used to use a 5100, which is relatively cheap, $300 probably. And then I used to use a lens that was a $25 lens, right? And it's an amazing lens for $25. It's called, I forget, you 35 millimeter CCTV camera lens. It's you can get them on Amazon, super cheap. They create this beautiful image, but they're not particularly tack sharp. So I upgraded to a $300 Sigma 30 millimeter lens, and that's what I use now. So I have a Sigma 30 millimeter 30 millimeter lens. I think it's like f1.7, maybe it's f1.4, I don't know. And a Sony A6500 is the camera that I use. So I upgraded my camera. But my buddy Kurt is going to start a channel soon. Oh, hold on, somebody sent me money. Kurt's all mad at me now because I'm not promoting his channel. Kitch Hipcat just give me $5. Thanks so much, man. I forgot to say congratulations on passing 10,000 subscribers. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about that too. Thanks. So that's actually kind of why I decided to do this live stream. I was going to just do one for my patrons, but then I realized, okay, I've hit 10,000 subscribers. I better do something special, for my followers, my subscribers, because 10,000 subscribers. So it's kind of an important, apparently, and I didn't know this before I started, but 10,000 is kind of like a watermark for YouTube. So if you hit 10,000 subscribers, it's kind of like you're like a real YouTuber or something. I don't know. Let's see. I think Kurt wrote something. What'd you write, Kurt? Kurt's my buddy. Oh yeah, here we go. Kurt, the leftists want to destroy all principles the country was founded on. Then, from anarchy, they will create a new government without God. I think that's true. So Kurt Franklin, you'll find in the comment section here. He's my buddy in Hawaii. He's going to soon start a channel on YouTube called Total Recast. And what he's going to do is he's going to find movies that he thinks could have been great, but were poorly cast. And he's going to go through the cast and he's going to give other options that he thinks should have been other casting for that movie. And it's just a way of analyzing and talking about films that he likes. I think it's going to be a really great channel. So once he gets that channel out, I'm going to start promoting it on this channel because I think everybody should at least check it out. I think it's going to be really cool. So if you want to talk to Kurt Franklin, he's in the comments here. My brother was supposed to be on here, but I haven't seen much of him. And my dad was supposed to be too. All right, let's see here. Mr. Thistleblum. Each form of government works in its own element. Totalitarianism, communism, or fascism work in a single family household, but once you've got too many equals, neither survives for too long. Yeah, that's right. I mean, a lot of these kind of systems work in very limited ways. Hi, Burger the Bear. That guy's hilarious. He says, hi, Kurt. I'm funny, my mom says so. Yeah, Kurt's a pretty funny guy. Axe Bear John. Like seeing you here, buddy. Populist equals bypassing the gatekeeper. Huh, that's an interesting idea. When did you start this channel, Mr. Reagan? Says Sebastian L'Oreal. I started almost 3 months ago. I think I started 3 months ago, but there was like a little bit of time when nobody was watching me. I would get like 100 views or something on a video. And then once I did my Jordan Peterson video, which I think was like a week in or 2 weeks, I think maybe into my channel blew up. So I kind of count my channel from that date. So like 2.5 months. I've been doing this almost 3 months. It might have been longer than that, actually, now that I think about it. It's been a little while. Not too long. Dos Bear, live stream is a great idea and best way to reach the left that could use your insights. Yeah, I hope there's some leftists watching this and realizing that I'm not a horrible misogynist, racist, homophobic a-hole. I mean, I am all those things, but I want to pretend that I'm not. Bad MF. We will check it out. Good. I hope Kurt's channel blows up even bigger than mine, because it's not. He doesn't have a limited number of fans that he can get. Like I can only get sort of strong conservatives on the internet. Kurt can kind of get anybody with a film channel. John K. I'm here. Okay, John K. is my brother. Nida, I subbed you, Kurt. I'm not a movie person, but the content may be very interesting. It will be. Kurt's very, very smart and very funny. Funnier than me, which I know sounds impossible, but it's true. Content warning. You should post, share, influencing reading lists to help frame where your thinking comes from to discuss the ideas. That's actually really a smart idea. I'm going to think about that. I'm currently reading 1984. And my brother, John K., who's on here, is also reading 1984. I'm reading it because he suggested that he was telling me he was doing it, and I was jealous. I didn't want him to get too much smarter than me. I started reading it. And $5. Thanks so much, man. Benson, he's such a great guy. We've actually kind of become friends. He's sort of the person I met on YouTube that I'm sort of closest to at this point. That I met while doing this. Michelle M. Logic and reality question means. I assume that it's a smart question. I just don't understand it. Let's see here. Palmetto Paratrooper, men and women are not equals, period. One is not more important than the other, but that's not the same as claiming they're equal. Well, they're not the same, right? They're not the same. I think everybody has a certain level of human value, which I would claim is which I would claim is equal. But equal and the same, I think, are very different, right? Like, yeah. I love the debate that everybody, the blank slate idea, everybody's born the same. I mean, it's just so stupid. Like, it's like, I like it because it's laughably ridiculous. Like there's some things about the left that are so ridiculous. I like them because it's funny. It's funny that people actually accept these things. Let's see here. Would you rather be a Nazi or a feminist? Oh man, that's a tough question. Mr. Thistleblum, Mr. Reagan, have you read Brave New World? I have not. I need to read that. It was recommended. I just haven't. I'm not really much of a reader. I know that's crazy because I write so much, but 1984, great book, kind of scary. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Everything I read in the book, I mean, it's weird how it's almost like the left. It's like nobody on the left's read 1984. They don't realize that real life is becoming a kind of like parody of that book. Springbook 71 EU. I'm active duty in Coast Guard. The story of the wicked board of directors perfectly captures the problems of the command. You could type in that story. Whoa. I question. Springbook 71. That's a weird story. It's a very weird story. That is actually a biblical parable. I actually opened up the Bible and I read, I think it was the Wicked Vineyard Owner or something like that it's called. You can look that up in the Bible. And I read that story, and it was a sort of like the story was, I think, like a premonition of the death of Christ or something like that. I can't quite remember what it was. And I remember reading that, and I remember feeling this compulsion to write a kind of contemporary version of that story. Like, you know how like people say, well, they hear like the voice of God in some way, and they, you don't really hear a voice, but you feel some kind of compulsion or something. So that was a sort of direct, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I just felt like I had to do it. Like, I like the story that much. I know that's a horrible thing to say, but I was like, I don't want to write the story, but I was like, okay, I guess I have to. So that got in the book. But yeah, that's just straight out of the Bible. John, what are you doing sending me money for? That's my brother. What was that an accident? Don't send me money. what are you doing? Okay, hold on. Couldn't let these fellas outspend me. My brother's crazy. My brother's crazy. Thanks, Johnny. I'll have to buy him a good birthday present. Okay. Content warning writes, that's nepotism. Hey, he can afford it. He's taking over the family business. Still, though. Now, I'll probably use that money to fly up to Oregon to go see the family. He is being generous. He's a good man. He's a good man, my brother. Libertarian capitalist. Which one's better, conservative or libertarian? I'm a conservative. My dad's more of a libertarian. I don't know if he's... I don't know what my dad's doing. I'll give him a call. I don't like... What is it that I don't like about libertarianism?
Hello.
Hey, were you guys able to figure out how to get on?
No, I mean, I'm watching you.
Oh, but you can't comment?
Yeah, because I couldn't, I don't know, they didn't accept my email address or something.
Oh, you got to sign in. Okay, we'll figure out how to sign in, and then you can chit chat with these people who are watching.
What?
You can chit chat on here with the people that are watching if you sign in. You can add little comments.
I know. I tried. It didn't work.
All right.
But I'm watching.
We'll work it out next time.
Okay. No more drinking coffee on air. It makes too much noise.
Oh, does it really? Oh, sorry, guys. Okay, thanks, Mom.
All right.
Mr. Reagan cups available now. All right, bye, Mom. Love you. All right, that's my mother. Bunctious voice is the spring, and not trying to command your attention is the father. The one. Yeah, that's probably true. Let's see here. Bob Lavelle, Mr. Reagan, family needs to sign into their Gmail account. Yeah, no. I'm not going to sit here and try to work out how my parents are going to get it. I mean, if somebody else wants to call my mom, I can get her number. I recently, Mr. Thistleblum says, I recently come to the conclusion that I'm a South Park Republican. Nice. I used to say when I was like school, being a conservative in Salem, Oregon means you're really a rebel, you know? And then these guys started to say the same thing about being a conservative in LA, which is 100% true. Kurt Franklin writes, my buddy from Hawaii writes, every mom trying to use every computer ever. I love that. Sean Gross, what did she say it makes you? What did she say it makes you? Oh, she said that coffee, if I'm sipping the coffee, it's too loud, I think. Is that what you're asking? I don't know. Dwayne Benson, drink your coffee, ha ha ha, just like mom. Yeah. Let's see here. Gabe Jordan, everyone's mom ever. I know, right? Love my mom. All right. Bad MF, I have a mom. That's great. Macy Mack, totalitarianism is easier than the responsibility of liberty. I actually very much agree with that. Zero. Neo is the one for me. Oh, I see. You know, Neo. Oh, he's referencing that other guy. You know, what's funny about Neo is now this is very controversial. You guys are probably going to hate this, but in the movie The Matrix, Neo is the Antichrist. Morpheus is actually a fallen angel. He's a demon, right? And when he offers the red and blue pill, he's offering you can live or you can die. And he takes the red pill and he touches the mirror and he dies and he goes to hell. And the real world is hell. I mean, look at it. It's total crap, you know? So he's in hell. And then, you know, all the agents are angels. And he says to Morpheus, you know, when he's got him in the chair there, Agent Smith, he says, you know, originally that we created this perfect paradise for you guys, but you kept waking up. And so we had to create this, you know, the 20th century. What he's talking about is Eden. He's like, we created Eden, but you guys messed up. And so now you're here. And when you see the second movie or the third movie, there's like God, the creator, right? With the beard, like the old traditional image of God. And then in the third movie, at the end, you see this like big glowing face, right? And that's like the Holy Spirit. Those guys were trying to create a sort of Christian analog where, you know, they've replaced God with a computer, and they've made all the good stuff evil, and they made all the evil stuff good. It's a fascinating movie if you think about it that way. It's kind of evil because they're convincing you to root for the bad guys in the Christian theology. But that's what the Antichrist is supposed to do, right? Convince you that he's Christ. Hold on a second. I'm reading your MAGA says, "Hey, Mr. Reagan. Hey, Mr. R. Hey, MAGA. MAGA. I like your name." Let's see here. Da, 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 da. Gosh, so many messages. All right, Burger the Bear. Wow, I've never heard that before. That's really interesting. I assume you're talking about the Matrix thing. Yeah, I mean, that's my theory. I never read that or anything, but I think that's correct. Well, the reason I came up with that theory is because I saw this part of the movie where, well, they kept saying, like, you're my personal Jesus Christ, and they kept referencing God, and then he died back to life. Bad. I mean, and the reason I say it's bad is because, like, there's some things in the movie that are supposed to be good but are clearly evil. Like the Oracle like lies to him and says he's not the one, but he is the one. And they're like, well, sometimes lying is good, and like we have to kill people, and it's just fine. And it's like, no, all of those things are anti-Christian, but you're creating this Christian analog. I don't get it. And it occurred to me it's backwards. Mr. Reagan doesn't drink. That's true. Not much. I mean, occasionally, but very rarely. That's so true about the Matrix. Yeah. And it's funny, actually, the guy that betrays everybody, he's eating the steak, and he's like, I know the steak's fake, but it tastes great. I want to get back to the Matrix. So he's supposed to be like, you know, the guy that betrayed Christ. What can I think of his name right now? Anyway, but he's obviously like betraying the Antichrist. It's all interesting. If you watch the movie, it's like very, very obvious. If you're thinking about it like that. Sean Gross, regarding the Matrix, somebody had asked you if that was your interpretation or if you had the inside scoop. I do not have my interpretation. Yeah, okay. Mr. Thistlebaum, you're spot on with the Matrix analogy. My connection is really bad. Better now, though. Called the folks earlier. It's impressive that mom is even on, and dad is at the links. Oh, dad's golfing. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. Hey, Alex Bearjohn, $10. Thanks, brother. I feel like I see the political landscape in very similar terms as you, but I come from the left. The red pill was almost a spiritual experience for me. Have you always been on the right? You know, in a lot of ways, I'm kind of jealous of people who get red pilled because, gosh, I mean, just opening, you know, all that stuff making sense sort of all at once must be like such a powerful experience. And Cypher, that's right, Cypher, short for, oh, Lucifer, interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. Even though they have Satan, somebody else in the next, I think the Frenchman is Satan in the next movie. I would have loved to experience that like awakening, but no, unfortunately, is right wing. But you know, you have to navigate it when you're a kid. You have to question everything you believe. A lot of people talk about Christians with a lot of people accuse me of having blind faith on here for being a Christian, and all Christians having blind faith. And I can tell you, being from Oregon, I came from a very sort of intellectual atmosphere growing up in high school and stuff. Like the people on, there was a TV show in the 90s called Dawson's Creek, and people would criticize the writing because they were like, well, high school students don't talk that intelligently. The people at my school did. I mean, people at my school are very intellectual. And so I came out of that kind of atmosphere. And I never met a Christian who did not question his faith or question, you know, Christianity in terms of like, is this valid, right? We would always question the of all of our beliefs, whether it be, you know, political or religious or whatever. And you really had to go through it. I mean, it's kind of an arduous thing when you're a teenager and in your early 20s going through this sort of process of like trying to figure out what you believe and then kind of fixing yourself to certain, you know, fundamental ideas and then trying to grow from there. And then even questioning those fundamentals sometimes. I mean, it's a brutal process trying to check yourself and really kind of advance your truth, I guess, in the world. So yeah, I've always been a right wing, but I've always questioned everything to some extent. I mean, you know, you can't just question yourself all the time, or you're never going to progress. You know, you have to take some things. Most of the time, you have to take most of your fundamental ideas as fact and move on from there, I think. Let's see here. It's cathartic being red-pilled, I would assume. Yeah, not just cathartic, but I think kind of mind-blowing. Let's see, content warning says, I was raised on red pill cereal. Dad gave me a bowl every morning. I got to find out where to buy that. Bob Lavallee writes, I think who represents who in the Matrix tends to be more fluid, quote unquote. There are some very clear people, but yeah, you're right. It's a bit fluid, a lot of it. Bad MF. I believe Lucifer and Satan are two different beings. The devil is a third. The mother and the son and the Holy. Interesting perspective. I haven't really heard that. Let's see here. Let me go down to the bottom. Sorry, I can't get to every comment just because there's just too many comments. But I'm trying my hardest. If I'm kind of ignoring you, I apologize. If I'm ignoring you and you've written a few things and you're kind of annoyed with me, do something in all caps so I see it. You can also write John K. That's my brother, or Kurt Franklin, and they'll respond. Kurt Franklin's my best friend, and Dwayne Benson as well is a good buddy of mine, and they're all very, very intelligent and they know what I think. Let's see here. Shout out to the Navy. Okay, yeah, shout out to the Navy. My grandfather was in the Navy, so I'm down with that. All caps. You got 75 people on here. Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, I kind of anticipated 50 to 100 somewhere, so this is about what I thought would happen. If you really want to get noticed, cough up some cash, you cheapskates. SRJ34. That's not necessary, but I appreciate it. Dos Bear, don't worry about it, Reagan. Go with the flow. Who's your 21? Hoo-yah. Yeah, I never served. I should have probably at some point because I was poor for a very long time when I was young. I still am, but I had a problem with my leg. I have something called ankylosing spondylitis. My left hip is now metal, so a lot of the recruiters were not interested. Bird of the Bear. R3 Sources ID says, congrats on my book. Yeah, I wrote these short story books and then I made them available on Amazon. And if you have Amazon Prime, they're free. They're really good short stories. If you like The Twilight Zone, you'll love my books. So check those out if you can. They're in all my descriptions on my YouTube page. But I'm quite proud of those books, and I feel like not enough people get to read them. One of the stories is one page. So in book number 2, the first story is one page. So if you don't want to read a lot, read that one page. Let's see here. Xenomorph. Gosh. I'm not going to... Why do you keep writing vulgar things? I can't read that on... Okay, let's see here. Bob Lavallee. Mr. Reagan, quote your super chats first. Answer second questions as time permits. Yes, that's a good strategy. Super chats, I assume, are paid chats. I think I've been responding to the super chats. I don't know if I missed one. I'm sorry. Burger the Bear, what's your favorite color? Blue. Mark Scotch, what's the title of your book again? It's called Straight White Christian Man. Volume 1 and Volume 2. Xenomorph, totally need to do live chats on paydays. That's super smart. I might do that. I didn't even know you could give people money on here. Like, that was not even like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Okay, Palmetto, if somebody gave me $50, I'd forget there are 70 other people on here. Yeah, well, that was my brother, so he doesn't count. Oh, he does count. He's a good guy. Okay. I shouldn't say that. Steel Bear, Mr. Reagan, do you see a peaceful end to the way things are going right now with the country being so divided? I absolutely see a peaceful end, and here's why. Despite the completely ridiculous witch trial of Donald Trump, I think the internet is going to drive enough people. So for those of you who've seen my more recent videos, I have this theory about the right, which is that the right, and I'm not talking about like, white supremacists, but I mean like right-wing, normal, conservative people represent the spectrum of the realm of reason, right? Or realm of rationality, the spectrum of rationality. And this spectrum from very moderate conservatives to very strong far-right conservatives, the reason that I call it the spectrum of reason is because the foundation of the ideas that they have to make the world a better place, it's all founded in objective reality, right? They're trying very hard, conservatives. We try very hard to found our ideas in pragmatism, in really truly objective reality. Leftists found their philosophy in this idea that's like, you know, straight white men are bad and everybody else is good, right? In the idea of the blank slate, in the idea that Mother Nature is here to comfort us, and stuff, and like, you know, lions are cuddly, you know, and you can go out in Alaska and live with the bears and they're not going to eat you, you know, like crazy ideas like this that are like removed from reality. They're not real. You know, the environment will kill you if you just go out there and live without shelter or, you know, some kind of protection. Nature is not cuddly, and white people aren't evil, and, you know, everybody else isn't good. And the blank slate idea that genetics don't inform, you know, how we are in any way when we're born is mental. And there's a lot of these ideas on the left. I would say that there's basically 4 major fundamental flaws. Nature is good, and it's here to help. White people are bad, you know, men are bad, straight people are bad, and everybody else is good. And that's a flaw. And the blank slate idea that genetics don't inform how we are. These are the fundamental flaws of the left, and all of their ideas stem from these fundamental misperceptions of reality. So on the right, we try to plant our ideas in, and so I do think that. Sorry, I forgot where I started, and I'm so distracted by this comment section. But anyway, so that's my basic idea between the right and the left. So you know, I think that the more crazy the ideas get, and the more information we get from the internet, like if you watch Prager University, or you watch Ben Shapiro, or you watch Jordan Peterson, or you watch me, or you watch any of these guys, you're going to start to hear ideas that actually make sense in the real world, and that's going to be so obviously true compared to the leftist idea that actually don't really work. I mean, their ideas don't work. So it's going to become plainly obvious to enough people that I think everybody's going to shift into the realm of reason, right? The realm of rationality. And everybody will be here. And we'll have a left-right divide, but it's going to be a left-right divide within the realm of reason. So that's why I think there's going to be a sort of a peaceful resolution to all this. I think it's because of the information that we're getting from the internet. You know, people are going to become more rational. Sorry, that was a long one. I'm sorry for that. I totally heart straight white males. Celeste Paradise. You've got a heck of a name, Celeste Paradise. That's Mr. Thistleblum. YouTube definitely needs to enable like buttons on live chat comments. Yeah, for real. Yeah, I would like all of these. Well, I can't really, but Martin Wisser says, plus the left is the one murder away from paradise. Yeah, that's the criticism of communism, right? Isa, nope. I don't know what that means. Okay, somebody disagrees with me. Daryl Croswell, I'm glad I found this channel. I'm glad you found this channel too. Bim Jim, I favor evolutionary psychology. Yeah, that's pretty much what Jordan Peterson is, right? Evolutionary psychologist. Isa, Prager University is fake. Isa, LOL. Ooh, we found a troll, I think, guys. Bob Lavely, Daryl Croswell, welcome aboard. Yeah, I agree. I second that. Sean Jameson, red pilling. I checked out Dr. Steve Churley's channel. He's looking at the progressive movement from a macro geo level, and it looks like we are seeing a worldwide shift away from Marxism, Karl Marxism. He's right. Yeah, I think that's probably true. I think that's fantastic. I didn't know about that. Okay, Dr. Steve Turley, I'm going to check that out. Isa, wrong. I like this Isa, girl or guy. Palmetto Paratrooper, thought. I don't know what that means. Dos Bear, centrist. Who's your 21? Hashtag me too, Daryl, Bob Lavely. Isa, like their videos, however. Okay, hold on. People are having conversations of their own here, apparently. Okay, which is good. I encourage that. SRJ34, blue is your favorite color? Royal blue, navy blue, Carolina blue, Prussian blue? Help us out here. Yeah, no, just blue. About as typical blue as you can get. I like looking at the sky. I like looking at the ocean. And I like looking at, yeah, blue. Blue's good. Even though most of the stuff in my room, I think, is red for some reason. I don't know what that's about. I think it's on sale. You are parroting Peterson. I'm not really parroting Peterson. Isa. I mean, I actually welcome the criticism, but I don't think that that's what I'm doing, because it just so happens. So I think that part of the reason why my channel's been successful is because Peterson and I actually have very similar ideas. Peterson has a lot more expertise and can explain things in ways that I can't, because he's got this knowledge base that he's got from his psychology practice and stuff. And he's a lot older than I am, and I think he's probably a lot smarter than me. But we have a lot of the same ideas. But I think I speak in a way that is more typical of a common American. So I can break down what he's thinking or what he's saying because I understand it perfectly, because it's the same thing that I'm thinking, and I can explain it in a way that, you know, somebody else who maybe isn't thinking like that can understand better. And I think I'm kind of a bridge between the intellectual right and the common man, because I'm not that smart, but I understand everything that they're saying. I don't think I'm parroting it. I think I just agree with it. Let me go down to the bottom here. Sorry, I'm skipping some comments. I know. I'm sorry, guys. Peterson is an indigenous. Oh, sorry. Peterson has an ingenious formula for debate. Yeah, I think so too, Lizard. You know, actually, with regard to debate, my theory has always been, and you guys should all take this, even Isa, you can learn something from this. You should never debate to win, ever. If you want to win any argument or any debate, always debate toward truth, right? So always be trying to investigate what the truth is behind what you guys are talking about. So, because you'll always inch closer to the truth, whatever that means, right? So you'll always, you know, if truth seems to be closer to the left, you'll go left. If truth seems in front of you, you'll go in front. If truth seems a bit behind you, you'll back up, and you'll find your way navigating toward truth. If a person's trying to win who's debating against you, what they'll do is they will often take an opposing position just to win points, just to win, just to score points on the scoreboard. And so as you inch closer to truth, they'll be positioning themselves in an opposition to truth. And that's you know, obviously that's a recipe for losing. You know, they're going to lose. So if you're conservative and you're debating to win, try to just argue to discover the truth within the argument, and you'll win. You always win. Almost. I mean, I suppose there's cases where you'll lose by just because the person's an amazing debater, but most of the time you'll win. Here. Oh, Dwayne Benson is leaving. Okay, Dwayne Benson, have a great rest of the weekend. Great rest of your Sunday. He's one of my best guys. I love that guy. All right. Oh my gosh, the comments are flying so fast. Can't even read them. Elon, how long do you think Peterson can ride this wave he's riding? He said he's gotten to the point where he's going to prom for him. I've often considered this myself. I think that for people like us, well, like us, as if I'm not really on his level, but I kind of do the kind of same thing here on YouTube. I think that the idea that you're going to repeat yourself, that's inevitable in these kinds of platforms. So it's often good to step away for a little bit and sort of assess and like examine what's going on in the world and like take a break. So if at some point, if Peterson just decides he's going to disappear for 6 months, I think that's, you know, he can reformulate what the next steps that need to be done in the Western world are, and then come back, and then we're all going to then he can start to feel tired and stale. Sorry, that was, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm trying to scoot down here. Yeah, okay. Glyph Zero writes, I believe he has a wave as traditionally defined. He spends time refining ideas out loud, and a bunch of others are along for the ride. That's a good assessment. 1S Navarro writes, how can libertarians and conservatives find common ground? Excuse me. I tend to find that a lot of libertarians are sort of non-religious conservatives. So they have a lot of common ground already. Although one of my most religious friends, Jason down in Miami, he's a very strong libertarian. My dad is also a strong libertarian. So You know, it's really just I mean, we have, I would say we have 95% of stuff we agree on. It's just like a very small percentage of things differences about. So we you know, we already find a lot of common ground. It's just a matter of how much regulation and what we should regulate and stuff. And those are things that we should always be discussing. So I think it's good that we have some disagreements on that. I'm breaking up. Okay, sorry. I can't. I found that, you know, when I break up, there's not really much I can do about it. Okay, bad MF. Gotta go. I get paid on the 3rd. Have another live stream then. Bye. All right, see you, man. It's good to have you on here. Mr. Thistleblum. It's not polite to make light of tragedy. That's true. I don't know what you're talking about, but I agree with that. Please maintain decorum. All right, somebody's maybe being a jerk. Oh, Palm. Okay. Bob Lovely. Mr. Reagan should end up on the radar soon enough. You mean YouTube? Yeah, probably. Brother Bear says, I'm just a bear. He's a funny guy. He says, I don't think I'm quick enough to have a chat with Peterson and keep him interested. He's incredibly bright. No, I think you could. I think he's a pretty nice guy. I've never talked to him, but he seems like he's all right. Jacob Wildley, thanks for the fun chat. Got to go to bed. Got my first day of college tomorrow. Peace. See you, Jacob. That's awesome. I love that. Okay. Have a good night. Alexander Campbell, all you conservatives that tout capitalism, have you actually read Wealth of Nations? I have not read Wealth of Nations. I don't know. I've heard of it. I should probably have a look at that. Citing a book as an argument isn't a particularly good, effective way of debating, though, I don't think. Ofragal, why does the left hate Israel? You know what's an even better question? Why do Jews vote leftist? Because leftists do hate Israel. They like the Palestinian state idea, which I don't understand. I don't understand why Jews are leftists. They should be conservatives. Okay, let's see here. Palmetto Paratrooper. Peterson was on Theo Vaughn's cast something. He will talk to show if they have viewers. Theo is a moron. I don't know who that is. Who do you picture? No, wait. Who do your pictures... Oh, why do your pictures seem so small on the wall? Are they hang too high? Also, the horizontal spacing is not precise. Did you use a ruler? Sorry for my OCD. The horizontal spacing is correct. That's correct. They're not that small. They're just kind of far back of the distance. This camera has a very like long depth of field, so everything's in focus, so you have no perspective, but they're pretty far away. They're not that small. They're actually printings of pictures that I found on the internet of what we call retrofuturism, right? So they're retro because they were drawn in like the 50s and 60s, but they're futurism because they're drawn in the 50s and 60s about what they thought the future would look like. So their architecture that was drawn in the 50s and 60s about what they thought the future would look like. I love this kind of art. Let's see here. Jews and Asians be on the right. 100% agree. My best friend Kurt is half Japanese, and he is on the right. Alex Bear John, my girlfriend is Jewish, and she's harder right than me. Good on her. She's one of the smarter Jewish voters. Let's see, Alexander Campbell, even Adam Smith said that capitalism without morals is doomed. 100% agree. Brando, hey man, what do people keep saying Jordan Peterson? Do you think that's a reasonable description? I do not. Jordan Peterson is a clinical psychologist, and so a lot of what he says is going to be of the profession. And a lot of times we don't really know what other people don't know. Like if we become very, very comfortable saying things like axiomatic, right? So, and I actually try to decipher this. So I'll try to pick out words that I don't think people know, like axiomatic, and I'll explain them on my show. So if I hear axiomatic, I'll say, okay, so this is going to be something that's like a face value truth, right? Something that's axiomatic is something that like that you can accept, that like nobody argues about, like it's so obviously true that everybody. I think that's right. Yeah. Is it axiomatic or is it another word that I'm thinking of? Anyway, that nobody argues it because it's so obviously true that it's not debated. So I try to identify that stuff, and then I discuss it when I'm breaking down his videos. Can I identify as Oh, shucks. I'm losing. Sometimes this will just disappear. That can I identify as Mrs. Reagan? Who 21? Yeah, sure. Make that. My girlfriend will kill you, but that's cool. I'll think it's funny. All right, let's see here. Who's your 21? Shouldn't we care about the individual coming to tire right, and not base it off the race, ethnicity? That's basically playing identity politics. Shouldn't we care about the individual coming to tie right, coming to the right? I think you mean coming to the right, and not base it off the race, ethnicity. Yeah, I think so. I don't really know what the question is, but yeah, I agree with that, I guess. Shemek, many journalists probably find the big words threatening. Well, also, it's just, oftentimes we get comfortable with words that we don't know, that other people don't know them. It's just part of the way language is. Awesome, man. Totally agree. Thanks for the reply. No, I don't remember what I replied. Axiomatic is the term I'm looking for, yes. I sometimes get axiomatic confused with another word. That's why I paused there. Okay, how old are you? I am 38 years old. James Harrelson, the artwork behind you is described as interesting, man. I'm a photographer in Portland. That would fascinate my intellect, too. Hey, we should actually go get a drink. I don't really drink, but maybe coffee or something, because I'm from Salem, Oregon, and I head up to Portland probably twice a year. So, yeah. I'll try to make an announcement when I come up to Portland. I'll try to meet some people up there. Content warning. Oh, shoot. It went away again. See, I don't know what's going on. Sometimes okay. I'm going to read Kurt Franklin's thing because he's my best buddy. Damn the torpedoes. The left is the party of dissatisfaction. They don't like themselves, their lives, their world, or people in general. I think that's often true, sadly. What is your name? My name is Chris. Chris Coles. You can actually see my name on my books that I've written called Straight White Christian Man, and they are available on Amazon. And if you have Amazon Prime, they're for free. And if you don't want to read much of them, you can read the first story of the second book. It's only one page. Mike or Clem. Mike or Clem. Mike or Clem. Why are you either Mike or Clem? Well, shouldn't you just be one or the other? Glyph Zero. Robert Paulson. I don't know what that means. Bob Levely. His first name is Chris. Yeah, Chris Coles, K-O-H-L-S. It's a German name meaning cabbages, which is very dignified. Who's your 21? What's your stance on marijuana legalization? I am 100,000,000% against marijuana. Sorry, I know a lot of you are going to hate that, but I had a buddy when I was growing up named Rick Spurlock, and he is now in and out of mental institutions pretty much all of the time because he lost his mind. He went schizophrenic. A lot of people say, well, marijuana doesn't cause schizophrenia, but it definitely does. I mean, he did take a lot of other drugs, so I can't say that for sure, but I really, 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 really hate marijuana. Thank you, Axbear John. Cheers to my fellow bears. What's up with the bear thing? What's up with the bear thing? I don't understand what the bear thing is. Somebody tell me what the bears is. Elon Lim, I've noticed that everything a leftist accuses you of is precisely what they're doing behind the scenes. Yeah, it is true. Like if you have one of these, like, this is what a feminist looks like. By the way, I have this is what an anti-feminist looks like t-shirts available now on my Teespring, which I think is hilarious. I don't know if anybody else likes that, but I like it. So they have these shirts that say, this is what a feminist looks like. And all these guys are always accused of like rape eventually because they're all, Milo Yiannopoulos pointed this out. I'm a feminist and you're a guy, you are probably raping somebody. Memes happen, Chris. Love when they come. Okay. Choose no drugs. Yes, it does. Owen Benjamin. I don't know what that means. The black box, Benjamin. Okay, I got to look up what that means. It's okay. My name is Gaelic for found in the marshes. Ouch. You're just sitting in the marshes and somebody finds you. Does that mean you're Scottish? Because my grandfather was Scottish. I've got a kind of a place in my heart for Scotland. We're from Stirling, my family. Naida, what is bears? Yeah, I still don't know what that means. Okay, Glyph Zero, I believe if drugs were legal, the safety of it would be of higher focus. Yeah, that's the argument from the libertarians. So the libertarian and conservative difference, I think, is that like conservatives tend to think that libertarian ideas, like if people are too free, what we end up doing is we create these markets for for extremely for the exploitation of the vulnerable, right? So if you have of drugs, then you have a lot of people who have an incentive to exploit the vulnerable, to get people hooked on drugs, a legal incentive to do so. And then if you have like legalized prostitution, then you have a legalized incentive for pimps to try to sort of convince pretty young innocent girls into becoming prostitutes and ruining their lives. So you don't really want to create legal markets for victimization. So that's why I'm a conservative and not a libertarian. Although there is the argument, of course, that, like you said, that leads to more safety and stuff like that. Nevertheless, I do think it will lead to more harm than good. And you'll see in the Netherlands, this actually eventually became a bit of a problem because a lot of their stuff is legalized. And you can read about the Netherlands and the problems that they endured with that. It's an interesting thing to explore, though. I don't think it's completely off the table in terms of like my perspective, the legalization of sort of nefarious things. If we could kind of figure out a way to negate the exploitation of the vulnerable. Sorry, I'm scrolling down again, and this chat just keeps going black. It's driving me crazy. All right. I think people wrote the Bears thing, but I skipped over it. Crap. Let me go back. Owen Benjamin, the YouTuber, interviewed Peterson early on. Bears were his fans. Oh, the Bears were the Owen Benjamin fans. Okay, so if you say blah, 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 bear, means I thought it was a gay thing, actually. Sorry. That could be confusing. I live in LA. People tell me weird stuff about homosexuality. Okay, interesting. Owen Benjamin. I think I know who that is. I can't picture him right now, but I think I've watched him on YouTube. All right. Bob Lovely agrees with me on drugs, which is cool. I like that. Jonesy 9 writes, if you're not using Google's beloved Chrome, nothing works. Yes? Question mark. I am using Chrome. Who's your 21? So the marijuana should be legalized. Cartels are more dangerous than a few dudes. Schizophrenia! Exclamation mark. Yeah, it's a fair argument. I mean, it's something that needs to be debated, obviously. Kitsch Hip Cat. Owen Benjamin is a conservative comedian. Got it. Mike or Clem, the Frankfurt School is the center of cultural Marxism. Search for it on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, I've heard about that. I haven't researched the Frankfurt School enough, but yeah, I've definitely read a little bit about that. Bob Frankie, I think you should have what's going on? You should have the option to smoke marijuana, no government restriction, but a conservative social structure that looks down on such behavior. I think we should just burn it all and throw it into a whatever. I freaking hate marijuana. Okay, content warning. Opinions on millennials. Last generation needs to focus. No, I like millennials. I love millennials. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I like millennials, because before the millennial generation, I was really worried about the direction we were going in society. And now that there's a lot of crazy millennials, like a lot of far leftist crazy millennials, but you've also got a lot of conservative millennials. And so people are waking up. But I think the new generation, actually, I have a lot of hope for the world because of the new generation. I'm a millennial fan, actually. And the Generation Z as well. I mean, I think my girlfriend's Generation Z. Nastya, I'm with Mr. Reagan when it comes to pot, though. Good, Nastya. Nastya, we agree. It's a very Russian name, by the way. Isa, SRJ34. The right always uses IP when convenient. What is IP? I don't know what that means. Okay, Hoosiers 21. Bears have Ligma. I assume that's some kind of secret code that I'm unaware of. James Harrelson, the Multnomah Whiskey Library in Portland. Highly recommended. Very dignified meeting place, Mr. Reagan. Oh, excellent. I will meet you there. I will meet you there. I've never been there. Multnomah Whiskey Library. I'm unaware of that place. 69 people were watching. Nadia, do you dare formulate and Do you dare formulate and do a video on the role of conservative women as wives and mothers? I would love to see your take. Yeah, I actually talk a little bit about this in one of my videos. I think when I was in college, I met a girl, and it was the first time any girl I'd ever heard say, "I want to be a housewife." It was a girlfriend of a buddy of mine, and I remember thinking, like, what? Like, that's such a weird thing to say. I'm like, no girls want to be housewives anymore. And I remember thinking, like, this woman, it, like, blew my mind, and I was like, I had all this respect for her, and she actually kind of became more attractive to me. But since then, I have met very few women who are like, I want to be a housewife. And then one day, like with my current girlfriend, I went into the closet one day. I was going to do my laundry, and I couldn't find my laundry. And I was like, what did I do where did I dump it out? And then it occurred to me, I was like, did my girlfriend do my laundry? And I like looked in my drawers, and all my laundry was folded and done. And I thought, and I literally thought the words, I want to marry this girl. There is something incredibly refreshing about a girl who is willing to take on traditional female roles. And I think back in like the 80s, it was actually kind of novel to meet a girl who was just super career oriented, and that was actually kind of attractive because it was kind of, you know, went against the grain. It was kind of bold and courageous. But now that's normal. That's typical. So to be bold and courageous is to actually take on traditional female roles. And so I find bold, courageous women attractive. And so I find women who are willing to be women attractive in America. And that's my take on that. Okay. Robbie Elliott. I have friends who go paranoid with marijuana, and some develop schizophrenia. You can also hallucinate. Yeah, it's much more dangerous than people think marijuana is. You shouldn't, if you're on marijuana, if you like consistently smoke marijuana, you need to get off of it. It like reduces your ambition, and it kind of messes anything that messes your brain chemistry up. You should avoid, except coffee. Coffee you should drink like crazy. Okay. Burger the Bear. You're crazy, man. Let's see here. Nastya, ha ha ha, that kind of bear. Yeah, exactly. You know what? I'm way behind here on my comments. Radiating Kathleen, respect your man, your home, and your children is amazing. Like respecting your man, your home, and your children is amazing. Yeah, I agree. And as a man, you should respect your wife and your children, and you know, you should take on the masculine role. You know, the reason that we have these notions of gender isn't because it's a construct. It's because, you know, it's sort of the nature of things. You know, if you can't cook, kick rocks. I don't know what that means, but that's funny. It just sounds funny. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to read these comments here. Let's see here. Naida. Oh man. Okay, so it's skipping. Sorry, guys. James Probus. Owen Benjamin was the house bunny. God, okay, this is really skipping. I gotta come down a little bit here. Okay, hold on. All right, Dos Bear says everything in moderation, to each their own. To some degree, yeah, I agree. Bob Frankie, what is the economic school of thought you most subscribe to? What is the economic school of thought that I'm not really, I haven't studied economics particularly well. But you know, I mean, God, what would I say? The economic school. I'll have to get back to you on that. I'd have to look up what you know, like I've read a lot about economics, but I don't know if there's any particular branch that I'm aware of the actual name of that I would be able to say this. Somebody write some stuff and I'll pick one. Glyph Zero. Abortion is less my body, my choice, and more death sentence for people that haven't had a chance to screw up yet. Abortion's a good one. It isn't caffeine just another drug? Yes, it is, sir. It's the best drug. There's no really known side effects of caffeine, long-term side effects that I'm aware of. So I don't have a problem with caffeine. It doesn't get people in accidents or make them crazy, as far as I know. Buying Mr. Reagan mugs gets costly! Exclamation mark. That's funny. It could. Yeah, they're not that cheap. I don't know why. Teespring is very expensive. It kind of annoys me. I'd rather just, you know, kind of give out for just a few bucks Mr. Reagan mugs, but the site doesn't let you do that. So I have a very specific theory about abortion, and it's that this idea that it's that being pro-life is anti-choice is bizarre. I don't like that they call it pro-choice. It's a deceptive title. Being pro-life is a very appropriate title. I mean, they believe that there's life, right? So the reality is we don't know if a fetus has the same intrinsic value as a human, right? We give people intrinsic value. We believe human beings have value. Most people believe that. On the right, I think we assign more value to humans than people do on the left. But we all kind of agree that there's some baseline value to every human life. The question is then, does that value apply to a baby? In the Christian vernacular, you would say, does like a fetus have a human soul, right? And for the rest of the argument, let's just use the word soul to indicate intrinsic human value. So you've got this question: does a fetus, whether atheist or Christian or whatever, does it have a soul? Does it have intrinsic value? This is an impossible question to answer. Science cannot detect the human soul. There is no metric for human value, intrinsic human value. So what you have to do is then guess, and that's a horrible thing to do. So I analogize the problem of the abortion question like this. Say I were to give you a cardboard box. I just took this empty cardboard box and I set it in front of you, and then I handed you a baseball bat. And I said, beat the living heck out of this box. Absolutely obliterate it. Make it into cardboard pulp, and I will give you $1,000. Would you do this? Of course you would. It's an empty box. Nothing bad happens. It's a worthless object. It can be destroyed for $1,000. Fine. That's the idea of like, well, anyway, I'll get to that later. But so then I do it again. I give you another box, and I give you a bat, and I say, okay, I will give you $1,000 if you destroy this box. However, there may or may not be a kitten in this box. So you can obliterate it, and I can give you your $1,000, but you may be killing a kitten, right? And so the box represents the fetus, and the kitten represents the human soul, or the intrinsic value of that fetus. Now, we don't know if the fetus has intrinsic value. I mean, Christians believe that it absolutely does have the value, has the soul, has the value. And atheists tend to believe absolutely, leftists are like, no, it does not. It absolutely doesn't. But you don't really know. You don't really know. You're just guessing. You're making a sort of a moral assumption. But we really can't ethically do that, right? Because we do believe that there is a possibility that there's a kitten in the box, that there's a soul in the fetus. So to destroy it is a really huge risk. If it turns out, if some way we're able to actually, design some kind of scientific instrument that can measure a human soul, and we find out that all fetuses have human souls, we've essentially committed genocide. Now, if we find out there's no human soul, then it's great. It works out. We can have abortions for everybody. But we don't know that at this point. So just to destroy fetuses on a whim because we don't want the woman to have to suffer through 9 months of pregnancy, to me, that's a very strong risk that we're destroying an immense amount of value. I mean, the human intrinsic value to me seems to be the most to me to be the most valuable thing in the universe. So to just destroy it on a whim seems to be a little bit irresponsible, as an understatement. Abortion is genocide. Yeah, I mean that's the typical right-wing presumption. Keynesian economics bad. Yeah, Keynesian economics is obviously sort of a debunked idea. Conservative atheist, I couldn't agree more. Well, thank you. Nastia, the left cares more about kittens and polluted oceans than unborn. Yeah, no, I actually agree with that. Yeah, this is why I was thinking that the conservatives value human beings more than leftists, because if you said this kid could die, this little boy could die, or 10,000 kittens would die, what would you kill? And I think pretty much everyone on the right would say, well, yeah, kill the kittens. But a leftist would say, I wouldn't kill one kitten to save that boy. No, not all leftists, but like PETA, people that are in PETA and stuff like that, which to me is madness. What do you think of Ben Shapiro for president? I'd vote for Ben Shapiro. SRJ34, what kind of music do you prefer? I mean, we all listen to a lot of different stuff. Yeah, That's a tough question. I actually do listen to classical music, and that's not just me being pretentious. I'll tell you why I like classical music. When I was a kid, I was always writing film scripts, and my favorite films were like Indiana Jones, Back to the Future. You know, these big film score, movies. Superman, the movie, the original one. And so I wanted to get in the mood to write these scripts correctly. So I actually bought a set of 10 CDs when I was a kid, so I could listen to it while I was writing these screenplays. And I remember as I was buying it, I was really embarrassed because I was in Oregon and we were kind of like, we weren't really good old boys, but we were definitely sort of more hardcore than like listening to classical music. And I was a little embarrassed buying this CD set. And a pretty cute cashier was checking me out and she was like, "Oh, this is really cool. I didn't even know we had this. I want to get this." And I thought, okay, there's a little bit of validation from like a hot girl. Okay, I guess classical music isn't so bad. And I listened to it, and I started to enjoy it, and now I listen to a lot of classical music. I started to listen to like 90s music that I didn't listen to in the 90s. You know, when I was in high school, I started to listen to like Blink 182 and these kind of group as a sort of nostalgia to remember high school. Actually, somebody from high school started following Mr. Reagan. And I had made a video where I said something about how I was super unpopular in school. And they said, "I don't remember you being unpopular." And like sophomore, junior, senior year, I got more popular. But things kind of turned around for me. But before that, people hated me. But it was weird. I was like, oh my gosh, somebody from high school was on here following. This is crazy. Oh, shoot. Kurt said something to me here. What did you say, Kurt? Franklin, you're getting tired. Pull the plug. No, I'm enjoying myself. I had decided to go for 2 hours, but we still got 70 people here. I'll probably sign out soon, but not too soon. I want to read a few more questions. I'm getting tired, but I'm enjoying this. Alpha Trump likes to grab kitties. Sorry, PETA. What the heck does that mean? Oh, I get it. Kitties, yeah. My go-to classical was Star Wars. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Star Wars is, John Williams definitely got me into classical music. I would say that the stuff that I listen to, that's my current, I also like oldies like Beach Boys and stuff like that. But I'd say my current sort of favorite for the past like maybe 5 or 10 years has been like trip hop, like French trip hop. Like I like this guy called Grammatic, and stuff like that. If you look up Grammatic. You may like Grammatic. He's quite cool. And then there's a guy, gosh, there's a song Que Sera. I forgot what the Wax Taylor. Wax Taylor, awesome. Wax Taylor's great. Check out Wax Taylor, everybody. This is disappearing. Thomas Beloiti. Hey, dude, remember me at all? Probably we chatted a few of your Peterson videos. Stoked to see you growing quicker and quicker. You've doubled in subs like in a couple of weeks. I know, yeah, it's been kind of a crazy snowball effect. And nice to see you. I don't actually remember chatting with you too much. You don't have an icon. You gotta get a distinguishing icon, and then I'll remember you. Your name's vaguely familiar because I remember the Italian name. Yeah, Dos Bear. Just kidding. I don't know what you're just kidding about. This is definitely a bear site. Okay, yeah, I guess it is. Palmetto Paratrooper. Star Trek is better than Star Wars. That's a tricky one. I like them both. I would say I'm a Star Wars. I'm bigger on Star Wars than Star Trek. Sorry. Mike Skosh. If you like Blink 182, you should listen to Angels and Airwaves. Same lead singer, but more grown up sounding. Oh, let's give it a shot. I think the only reason I like Blink 182, to be honest, is because of the nostalgia effect. I probably wouldn't be listening to them otherwise. Glyph Zero. It's more liturgical music. Interesting. I'm more liturgical music. I don't know what that means. Axe Bear John. Yeah, a bear outpost. Bim Jim says Trek. Okay. The new Star Wars is a disaster. I'm going to actually do a video where I break down every SJW moment in the new Star Wars movie. Not Han Solo, but the new, what is it, The Last Jedi? Because I found it so, my hair's going crazy here. I just found it so, just so frustrating. I consider it cultural theft. I consider what's going on with the Star Wars SJW stuff cultural theft. We had this cultural icon of Star Wars, and then Kathleen Kennedy and the other creators of the new Star Wars movies basically just took it and decided that this is going to be our platform to disseminate our leftist agenda and screw everybody who grew up loving these. It's like, thanks a lot. Thanks for ruining my childhood, Most evening live stream cut out around 9:30 or 10. Okay. Central Time. Nastya, punk rock, anyone? My brother John K, he might be here, he might not be. He loves classic rock. I've never been a classic rock guy, but he loves that stuff. Burger the Bear loves 80s music. Right now he's into neo 80s music like vaporwave or synthwave. I don't even know what that means, but sounds cool. I like 80s stuff, you know, just for, again, for the nostalgia effect, but it was never really my favorite kind of music. Usuario do Google writes, I'm from Brazil. Your videos are great. Keep it up. Thank you so much, man. Conservative atheist. Have you been paying any attention to the culture war happening in Star Wars and gaming world right now with the SJWs? No. I am curious about that, though. I don't know what you mean by the culture war. I mean, I know that the Star Wars movies are, you know, dumpster fire, but I don't know what you mean specifically about the culture wars. Thomas Pelotti, ha ha ha, getting too big now. Don't remember the little guys. Sell out. It's, you know, I'm not used to really having followers and like tons of people to talk to, and like I still have to produce these videos, and like, I mean, my brain's kind of, it's hard because I have a real job too. I mean, it's not a really real job. I do background acting and stand-in work, but but you know, it's how I make money. So I have to go out and actually go on these TV shows and stuff and go make money, and then I got to do this stuff, and it's like, it's kind of stressful, but it's fun. But I would like to be able to focus on this full time, which is why I try to monetize everything as much as I can. Hopefully, eventually, I can do that. Reagan was a great president. I agree, Jeff Phelps. You are awesome. See here. Isa says, big, hairy, gay bears. Thank you, Isa. You're a beautiful, beautiful troll. Jeff Phelps writes, Mr. Reagan, listen to Owen Benjamin. I will. Now that I realize so many of the people that are following me like Owen Benjamin, I'm going to check him out. Hoosier 21. Have you ever heard of Greta Van Fleet? Look them up. No, I haven't. I'll check him out. Palmetto Paratrooper. Blink 182 sucks. I think you meant Collective Soul. Well, all those guys. See, the thing is, like, it's weird. Like, the stuff that I really hated when I was in high school, I'll listen to on the radio now, and I'll think, hey, I remember that. And suddenly I get this, like, warm feeling of nostalgia of, like, the girls I used to hang out with in high school and stuff. It's very weird. Like, oh, I like that now. You know, it's bizarre. Metolius9 says, LOL, had to drop off for a while, still going. This isn't bad for your first attempt. I mean, geez, man, you didn't even know about Super Chat when I started the stream. No, I had heard something like that, but I didn't. I thought you had to, like, activate it, and I never did that, so I just assumed that I wouldn't get paid for doing this. But some people donated some money, so thanks, people. Like Metolius9 gave me some money, so thank you so much, my friend. You're a cool dude. Okay, let's see here. Mr. Reagan rules. I'll snatch your lady. No, I will not. I have a lady, and already snatched her from somebody. But she snatched me from somebody, so it was equal snatching. Steel Bear. Hopefully you can start doing this full time. That's the hope. Yeah, that's the idea. Nadia, Nada, sorry, I keep saying your name wrong. Your brain and ideas are worth monetizing. You get out of background work. Your talent is wasted there. I agree. I should be the leading man. What the heck? It's always frustrating when I'm on a set and I'm like looking around at everything, and I like doing it. It's actually kind of a fun job. Which actually will bring me to my next profound realization, which I think will actually help everybody. What car do you drive? I drive this car called Uber. My car got stolen, so I just take Uber everywhere now. I didn't have insurance because I'm too poor. Whenever I'm on set, I want to get my own shows on TV. So I like look at this huge production, all this millions of dollars going into it, and I think this should be my show. There's a little bit of spite and resentment there always. But I'll tell you why I like this kind of work, like working on TV shows, because I go from show to show to show, and sometimes I'm like whatever, a cowboy, and then I'm a police officer, and then I'm a lawyer. So, you do all these different things. And one thing that's really good about that is that every day is kind of like a new kind of not profound experience, but just a new environment to some extent. And I remember a lot of the days that I work because I have a new, different environment, new things are happening. And I have a theory about life, and that is that your life gets shorter as you grow older, which sounds crazy because your life gets longer. But what I mean by that is like every every increment of time that you measure, it seems shorter. So, for instance, when you're 5 years old, a year of your life is 1/5 of your life. It's a very significant chunk of your life. But when you're 30, 1 year of your life is only 1/30 of your life, right? So it's just this much of your life. And so we perceive a year as shorter when we're 30 than we do when we're 5. And so as we get older, the years get shorter, the days get shorter, the hours get shorter. Every perceivable increment of time gets shorter. And therefore we are sort of on a parabolic curve toward the grave. Every year just goes like that, once we get quite old. And so because we perceive time as going faster as we get older, there has to be a way of slowing time down, right? So when I made this realization, I was kind of depressed. I was like, oh, crap, every single day is getting shorter. This is awful. But there's a way to combat it. And the way is this. So when you're a kid, everything is a profound experience, right? Because you not really experience much. So if you leave the house and you meet some Asian-looking dude, an Asian person, you're not used to seeing Asian people. That's like a profound experience because you've never seen an Asian before, right? And so that moment you remember maybe for years after that. But if you like when you're 30 and you have a job, day number 17 may be exactly the same as 2017 because day's 2017. Not the date, whatever, every single day that you go to your job, if it's very similar, like you have a 9-to-5 job, you go to the same office, you kind of do the same things, your brain will eventually sort of merge those all into one day, and you've wasted 20 years by doing the same thing every single day. So you have to supplement your experiences in life, your sort of day-to-day experiences. You have to inject them with new profound experiences, really, truly profound experiences. So you have to go skydiving. You have to go snowboarding for the first time, or taste French food for the first time, or whatever. Obviously, French food isn't that exotic. We have French food all the time, but you know what I mean. Maybe something Indian or whatever it is that you have never tried. Go try it every single day. If you can, you should try something new in order to present yourself with a profound experience, so that you remember that day, right? So that day seems to last longer than it would. It's very weird how we perceive things. If we perceive something for the first time, time slows down. Our perception of time slows down, and that day extends, and it will extend our life. So 100 years can feel like 1,000 years if you live your life with new experiences all the time, or new profound things are happening to you often or consistently. If you do the same thing every single day for most of your life, 100-year life could seem like only a 20-year life. So try to go out and I'm going to do a video on this eventually, but try to go out and experience as many new things as you can. And I think that actually the best way to do this, really the best way, is to travel. So if you can travel internationally, you have some time, or you have some money, and you can do it, I highly recommend it. And maybe go somewhere you wouldn't think you would want to go. I mean, just go somewhere crazy. There's a lot of places I want to travel, but I think this is absolutely crucial to extending at least your perception of the length of your life. So you can extend your life as much as you can. Steel Bear says, Mr. Reagan, what do you think of Alex Jones being deplatformed? I actually did a video on this. I think it is reprehensible. I think that we should have access. It's not stealing from Alex Jones, they're stealing from us, right? I don't watch Alex Jones, but I do think, I've seen some of his stuff is a little crazy, but I think we should have access to it. If Alex Jones has a brilliant idea, I should be able to learn that idea. I shouldn't be censored from YouTube in terms of my ability to watch new ideas. I should have access to that. Who's your 21? Jordan Peterson versus Sam Harris debate. Christ pilled me. Christ pilled. I'm actually working on the second debate right now, or the second day of the Vancouver debate right now. It's just taken me a long time because it's very rich. There's a lot of stuff to do. G Jonesy 9. Okay, now I think it's time for your brother to pull the plug. I know. I'm gonna sign off here in a minute. Mr. Thistleblum 1. Bob Lavallee. Like watching Zach roast Squirrel Girl. I don't know what that is, but I'll look it up. Isa, conservatives can't travel. Isa, you are a weird troll. I think your name is Jenna. Jenna Tools. Loud noises. I don't know what that means. Okay, Burger the Bear. Glyph 0. If it's the afterlife and you live for an eternity, and assuming that it's a heaven, would you even poop? Would you want to have the need to poop in the perfect world? Tackling the profound questions of philosophy here on Mr. Reagan. Oh, conservative atheist. You are awesome. $5. Congratulations on the success of your first live stream. Hope you do it again soon. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Well, I guess it was worth extending past 2 hours since I got $5 out of it. So, thanks, brother. You're a cool dude. You're a cool dude. And I like the nebula image. Genitals. Ah, you said genitals. Oh, very good. Yeah, that's clever. Steel Bear. I gotta go, but you should do these more often. Yeah, well, now that I've done my first one, it's not so scary. See, this is a profound new experience for me doing a live stream. I'll remember this for the rest of my life, and hopefully I'll pick them up. I'll be more comfortable in the future doing these. I said, not a troll, but you can call me that if it makes you feel better. Well, what would you call yourself? An antagonist? Okay, Brooke of the Bear. LMAO. How embarrassing. Glyph Zero. Brooke of the Bear. What is heaven? Werther's Original gave me $10. Oh, I love that guy. I talked to Werther's Original quite a bit on my channel. Here you go, big boy, for yesterday. Wink, wink. I love the people on my channel. Seriously, I seriously love you guys. I mean, it's bizarre. Like I mentioned this earlier in the live stream, but I'm going to say it again. When I first originally started to do YouTube, I was really anticipating a lot of crap, you know. And I'm from Oregon, so I'm used to getting a lot of crap. I mean, people up there will just give you crap for if you're successful in any way. Kind of like Australians, you know. That's kind of like the way you show love is you tell people they got a tiny penis or something. So I'm used to getting a lot of, but I mean, it was like so much positivity emanating from my comment section, and like it's just not what you're told is you're going to get when you start a YouTube channel. You're basically told that everybody's going to tell you you're a piece of garbage. But on my channel, everybody is so like they're so intellectual and they're so decent, and it's good humor. There's a lot of people with a good sense of humor. Not everybody always gets my jokes. Like I should apologize for the Eric Weinstein ugly thing. I did this whole kind of diatribe on the Eric Weinstein video about how he's sort of unwatchably unattractive. Like it was very hard to watch him, which was actually true, but I probably shouldn't have said it. But the reason I was so brutal is because I thought it was kind of a funny way of expressing that. Like, I felt like if you go too far and you go even further than that, it's funny, but people didn't think it was funny. So I learned my lesson. People ugly, even if it's just a joke. But yeah, but I love that a lot of the people on my channel do have an incredibly good sense of humor, and they're just good people. I mean, 97% of my comments are just amazing. 1% are anti-Semitic or racist. I don't know what that's about. 1% are just like very negative, but in a sort of intellectual way. So I respect it. And then 1% is just like garbage, like not worthy of comment, really. As a troll, I resemble that remark. Glyph Zero has now disliked my stream. Oh, so sad. I don't believe you. Xenomorph. I've got up 3,450 time for work in 17 years. I don't know what that means. Oh, 30 times for work in 17 years. Kill me, please.